There are certain anime I think are best enjoyed at certain times of life by certain people, while others, like classic anime, I consider a must watch for anyone interested in the medium. Some are considerably less universal in their appeal. Most anime fall into this category of great for some, not great for all. Some anime tell an emotional story, delving into the thought processes of its characters, and in doing so, establish a connection between you and the viewer and the character, especially when their situations are relatable to you. Sometimes an anime makes you realize where you could have been, where you may have messed up, and how you can maybe change your future. The anime I want to talk about today has characters that remind me of what I could have been, who I would like to be, and what I want to become, while showcasing life as a crazy ride, with our path to getting what we desire not being easily traveled. Sing Yesterday for me was an anime I gravitated toward right at the end of its seasonal run. As soon as I knew the premise, I wanted more. It's about a college graduate named Rikuo who has achieved a little bit in his life. He has some success. He's finished school. He's finished his undergraduate. Yet he still has little direction in life and never really gave much effort toward finding his path. In the meantime, he has kept working at a convenience store 4 days a week, sort of living in this awkward state where his friends around him have gotten jobs that they consider career level and have even established romantic relationships, while Rikuo remains single. Rikuo does not appear, at least to me, to be a depressed person, rather, he just shies away from challenge. He seems fearful of failure instead of digging into a job hunt and doing interviews because he chooses to establish a somewhat comfortable life as a part timer. I connected heavily with Rikuo on a personal level because he is someone I easily could have been in the past, but I was very lucky when I graduated college. I finished my degree and found a job within a month after finishing school, and I was heavily pushed by my family into that interview process. I don't think I would have done so without that push, and I'm very lucky, in my opinion, to have had that force behind me, pushing me forward. I also still live with my family at this point, so it's not like I could really ignore that push every day. I struggle immensely with self motivation. And being single, I don't have anyone besides family and friends to push me. But like Rikuo, I control my interactions with those people so to avoid the feeling of letting them down. I go long stretches where I don't talk to people consistently, that they're only offering me good advice and everything, and there's just something I think within my personality that clicks with someone like Rikuo that makes it hard for us to attach to people, and you have that fear of letting them down, and you don't really want to let anybody down, but in that at that same time you're letting down yourself. We don't know a lot about his family in this anime, but it seems as though he didn't have the strongest relationship with them. Perhaps he tried to avoid that push toward becoming a full-on adult, or maybe he brushed it off. It's not really talked about. Maybe he was just trying to ignore the pressure and live a life on his own. It's here where I start to envy him a little. I admire his freedom, his sense of doing what he wants to do in situations, and it's even mentioned in the show that he kind of just does what he wants to without really asking for permission or bothering people about it, or quite honestly considering their thoughts on the matter. He kind of just does things that he thinks it's the best for the situation. And I kind of like that about him a little bit. It's an aspect to his character that I think is sort of interesting, how you have this sort of sheltered person who is rather spontaneous. The story of Sing Yesterday for me revolves around Rikuo, not only Rikuo, but his college friend Shinako. Now, Shinako is a high school teacher that Rikuo went to college with. He had feelings for her back in their college days. And at the beginning of this anime, he reconnects with her because she has gotten a job teaching at a school in his town. And he fails expressing his feelings accurately for her. She comes back to town and he sees it at his chance, but he gets friend zoned essentially, and you sort of learn why Shinako is like views him the way that she does, and Rikuo is somewhat ashamed. Like he's sort of been cemented in this life of a part timer, and he puts Shinako rather, on this pedestal, saying that he's like no match for her. Really saying that she is something that he doesn't think that he could be. She is seemingly a comfortable, established person with a career, and is someone probably not worthy of his attention, but he doesn't necessarily like give up on it right away. He kind of takes on the friend zone aspect of this, and as awkward as it is, he basically says that he's going to sort of wait for her. In reality, Shinako herself is also a bit lost. She has this established career as a teacher, and while she may have similar feelings toward Rikuo, she has a backstory that I don't want to spoil too much about from the show, because I think it's a wonderful show and you should really check it out. But it prevents her from really going any further with relationships, as nothing more than platonic. And with that, she literally friend zones the poor guy, leaving him sort of like clinging to hope, trying to convince her otherwise, even though the relationship just continues to be this sort of awkward mess. There is also this awesome character named Haru Nanaka. Haru is without a doubt my favorite character in the series. She's an 18-year-old girl with a pet crow, who dropped out of high school to live a free life away from some sort of family baggage that you're not really told about a ton. It seems like her mom at home is dating this new guy. They had some sort of family falling out in the past, and she doesn't really want to be a burden on people. So she goes to live on her own, and she gets out of school, and she works at this cafe that it also doubles as a bar during the nighttime. And she frequents the convenience store that Rikuo works at. She's incredibly open, incredibly honest, and always a charming character to watch with intense optimism. She fell in love with Rikuo in the past, essentially at first sight, literally their first interaction with one another, but never had the courage to talk to him for years, it seems like. And she's sort of had that feeling just digging at her heart for all this time, and she's finally decided to sort of make her move. And she's trying to basically tell herself that she has grown as a person in some regard from what she was years ago, to be a person that is willing to go after what you want in life. Haru's awesome as a character because she is probably like the least realistic in the series. She's the most anime-esque, as I like to put it. She's someone that you wish you knew. She's someone that picks you up when you're down. She's someone that will wait for you when nobody else will. She's someone that will always be there for you when you even neglect them. Rikuo doesn't always treat her very well. In fact, he pushes aside a lot of her feelings initially. The feelings that he could have had for her for most of the show. While doing so, he kind of leaves her waiting for him. Haru sees this as a war between her and Shinako, battling out for Rikuo's love. She describes love as an illusion and one that she can't get out of, so she strides toward a life with Rikuo, completely contrasting to Shinako, who is a person who cannot push her feelings on anybody. She's stuck inside a cage of doubt, wanting desperately for Rikuo to take charge and be more assertive, aggressive about his feelings. Yet, when he even tries to later on in the series, she can't handle it. And again, there's reasons why, but it just really tugs at your heart because you have this situation that's so awkward and could be alleviated, but there's just so many obstacles in the way of this relationship actually ever building. I do feel bad for Shinako, but it's this reason that I don't really like her. I don't think it's really fair to put that much pressure on Rikuo to be more assertive when the guy has had issues in his own life. I don't think she is horrible. I think there's probably a lot of people, even in the real world, who feel like her when it comes to relationships, but I just personally couldn't connect with someone like that, as I'm not a very assertive person. Her situation sucks, I get that, and I want the best for her. But I was Team Haru all the way in this series. Haru loves Rikuo for who he is now and overlooks any flaws that he might have, while Shinako likes the idea of Rikuo, but won't let him get any closer than pretty much just a friend. I do wish that the series had more Haru. I want to know more about her background. It is a rather short series. It's only like 12 episodes. But I would have liked to have known more about her and the type of person that she is. She's supportive without much reason. She's passionate, caring, and willing to listen openly. While people like this exist in real life, it's finding that person that I think is one of life's challenges. It's hard to even start when everybody pretty much fears disappointment, and she really dives into her desires like with a full head of steam. Like, she is very open and honest about she wants Rikuo, and she wants life with Rikuo, and it's what she's decided. It's what her heart's telling her. It's where she wants to be. There's another character tied into this triangle here, but I don't want to spoil it. The role that he plays goes into a lot of the backstory of the characters that I really think you should just watch in the show. Please watch Sing Yesterday for me. It's an amazing series. I don't think everybody out there can relate to these characters, and that's fine. But I do think that most people probably could. I could have been Rikuo in life had I not landed the career that was put out before me. I could even lose this job someday. This job might not last forever. I don't actually even think about myself being at this particular career path forever, and I could end up feeling stuck in a rut someday. I avoid conflict personally. I'm not a very assertive person with how I feel, and that probably makes some people disappointed in me when it comes to potential relationships and even friendships. I have a hard time connecting with people. This anime made me think about who I was in the past, who I could have been, where I am now, and has made me think more on where I want to be. And for that, I really adored this series. I also used to work in a convenience store for 5 years. So on top of that, me and Rikuo, we have that interesting connection there. That's kind of cool. If you've ever worked in a convenience store, you'll probably like this anime too. But I'm really happy that I watched Sing Yesterday for me. I highly recommend it. I will learn from my past. I will work on myself in the present, and I will sing yesterday toward tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you to everybody who supports me on Patreon. I'll have a link to that down below in the description. Lax, Nia, Warp, and J-Chip. You guys are all awesome people. If you like videos like this, maybe check out some of my other content and consider hitting that subscribe button down below. Thank you so much for watching, at least. It really means a lot to me. My name is Miasma, and I'll see you next time.